Batman Superman Annual Issue 1, Joshua Williamson writing with a trio of artists, Dale Eaglesham, Clayton Henry, and Gleb Melnikov. So this is a story where we see a couple of kids fighting over who would win in the fight between Batman and Superman. And then it turns out the people looking after these kids are Batmite and Mxyzptlk. And then it becomes... So I don't know if I audibly laughed as much this week as when I got to... Because it basically builds up what the premise of the book is. And when it gets to the title page, it says, Freestyle Imp Battle. And I burst out laughing.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun, even though the story kind of was like, okay. It's the last book I had to read this week. So I was just kind of like, all right, let me get through it.
It's an easy read, though, isn't it?
It's super easy read.
I did laugh out loud when Mixie gets to tell his story on how Superman would beat Batman. This is the internet personified.
Kaboom.
Sometimes.
Oh yeah, no, I mean
that's it.
Yeah, this whole thing was an FU to Batman v Superman, because the whole point is that Batman and Superman, or even the imps themselves by the end, are kind of like, the reason why this isn't working is that you keep having to come up with all these convoluted reasons to make us fight, because we would never actually do this to the death. We never would. So you're having to write around so many loopholes to get us to this point.
I like that even the villains, so to speak, that Mixie and Batmite are very aware of this, and they're like, picking each other apart and going, just go with it, just let me have this one. I love it.
Freestyle Imp Battle. So Batmite tells his story first, which is... And this is where the different artists obviously come into it, is that when they're telling the stories, you get different artists.
And then there's the impression that when they tell these stories, they are actually changing reality. It's not just a story. It is physically impacting reality and doing a typical...
So this one's called Superman, Whatever Happened to the Man Who Destroyed Everything. And it's basically that Superman, for some random... And again, it's meant to feel random, right? Is that randomly the universe just starts falling apart because Superman exists. So the whole point being is that Batman realizes this, and Batman has to take on Superman. So we get to this thing to the point where like Batman's like, I've got so many ways to like take you down, and there's like a montage page where it's like red sun weapons, mecha battle bat armor, magic. Doomsday formula. We got a tank made out of kryptonite and just ridiculous shit.
I love on the Doomsday formula page. He goes, 10 of those can finish off Superman. Batmite, wait your turn.
Yes, and
my story.
And then he pulls out a trigger. He's like, "Okay, here we go, the ultimate weapon," and he turns the sun red. It's just
this was my ultimate contingency plan. I launched satellites years ago to do this, and now you're only human.
And I love
they both fall to their death.
Yeah, the end of the story is like because Superman's got him in the air, they both fall to their death through all these red clouds, and he's just like, Batman wins, lol. And then Mixie's like, wait, Batman dies too? That's not winning.
Who cares? It's cool.
It's like, what about what the red sun does to the entire world? It's like, not the point.
Yeah, so then Mixie tells his story, which is Batman, the Dark Knight dies.
Just before we get into that, this is where, some of the... It's been a little bit meta before this, but this is where it gets a bit more direct. Whereas, like, look, it's only 13 pages, but I was going for a event-level storytelling.
Yeah. So then he's like, okay, the Dark Knight, Batman dies, and it's just Superman punching him in the chest. He's like, all right, boom, done. And that's the whole story.
And then you have Batman going, OOC. It's like, what? You're out of character. Superman would never just do that just because. It's like, you gotta give him a reason. Says who? Says they.
Yeah. Who's they?
Yeah. Yes, who's they? Yes. Internet.
And look, I don't care about reasons, but I want to see them fight for 11 pages, damn it.
So yeah, they have a whole fight. I do actually love this where they're in the Batcave and Batman yells out, Batcave authorized anti-Boy Scout, right? Just like kind of the Justice League story where there's like those protocols in place. Yep. And Mixie's like, no wait, this isn't fair. Batman's in his home turf. This isn't fair. And then they just appear in the Fortress of Solitude, and Batman within the second panel just goes, Fortress, authorized anti-Boy Scout. And he's like, wait, you've not put anti-Superman tech in my own place. And then all of a sudden, like lightning strikes him.
I also like you see Mixie's hand turning the page.
Yes.
On that, which is real nice.
That is, I laughed out loud when Batman said, okay, Fortress, anti-Boy Scout.
and then Superman be like, oh, two can play at that game. I stole some of your tricks too. And the statues of his parents come to life and smash Batman with the big boulder.
This entire story is basically making fun of internet nerds who go down this fighting path of who would win with Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
And this particular one that Mixie's telling ends with Superman flying Batman into space and throwing him into the sun, which just happens in the art to look like a giant Mixie face.
As
saying,
he's laughing, Superman wins.
Yeah.
And then they keep fighting, and then the toys of Batman and Superman, which the kids were playing with, are like, wait, no one won. It's like Superman's right, and it's like, well, we would never do this. Like, you have this is so convoluted to make us fight. We would never ever do this. And yeah, it ends with them kind of realizing like, hey, but look on the bright side, they care about us so much that they want us to be a part of their stories, and that's why they would never ruin our universe, because they're fans and they want us to exist. And they would do anything to be a part of our world. And then it ends with the toy versions of Mixie and Batmite being showed by the by Crypto and
Ice.
I love the beat of the toy Superman and Batman going, we'd never fight. Look at what we had to go through. And then it was the two of you who were fighting all along. It's like, yes, it's the fanboys. We know.
Yep.
We're aware. Don't worry.
Yeah, and that's why I don't like to rejudicate tons of arguments online, because it's like, ultimately, unless it's people and it's being done in good faith, it's all a waste of time,
Yeah.
So I do like
kind
that.
of a little bit that it is people that know each other and kind of having that fun argument. It's like if us on here had this sort of argument and kind of came up with stupid things, and I feel like it would go something like this, where someone would be like, it just happens for reasons. Just go with it. Stop ruining it. Just let it happen. And that feels very true to friends bickering over these stupid stories, as opposed to just the terrible side of the internet that does this.
So that was a delightful annual, and Batman Superman's been a really fun book. We've all been really enjoying it, and I think this annual might even be its best issue.
It's up there.
Pretty good.
So
I did like the Roz stuff with the little tiny Kandorians coming out of the Lazarus pit. Like,
and that was Darrington art. So
yes.
Oh, that story was good. I'm not faulting it. I'm saying that this issue on its own is just a really good, fun story that's delightfully meta, and it's there's so much to say.
It felt like an annual. The story stands on its own. It doesn't. You don't need the other ones.
Which I think another one that, again, this book has excelled after its opening tie-in arc of just having short little, 2 to 3, 4 issue arcs. And this could have been another one of those.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is I think this fits in with what the book feels like anyway. So I think in the trades, when this is in between two of the small arcs, it's going to feel right at home. It's not going to feel like, oh, we switched to the annual, because sometimes you're reading a trade and you're like, oh, this is the annual shoved in the middle of this series of books.
Yeah, you could probably very easily split this into 2 issues, and just be like, this is the next 2-issue arc of this book, and none of us would question it at all.
Yeah, I think it works better as 1 issue, though. I think it's funny.
I do as well. I think it's funny, but I think, I don't think it would take too much effort to have made this into 2 issues.
No, because you would just end it with the end of the first story that Batmite tells and say, okay, next time, Mixie's story. That's all you would do. It would be a very easy split. So, nice. What are you giving it, Matt?
I'm going to give this an 8.
Connor?
Yeah, 8 from me.
I'm going to go 8.5, Brought a smile to my... I'm sorry, Freestyle Imp Battle is the funniest thing I've read this week, okay? Freestyle Imp Battle, man. Alright, there you go. That's the Batman Superman annual.